Hello and welcome everyone to this week's version of Ask Me Anything. My name is Provincial Constable Good and I'm a recruiter with the Ontario Provincial Police located in the Northeast region. Today I'm joined with Sergeant Nathan Daler. He's a sergeant out in Caledon. Nathan, if you want to just give a little introduction, tell me about yourself, let our viewers know about your job in Caledon and how you came to be with the OPP.
Sure. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Really happy to be here. Yeah. So as mentioned, I'm a sergeant in Caledon, which is just north of Brampton. For those that don't know where it is, and I've been a police officer for 23 years. 21 of those years I was not with the OPP, and that's primarily why I'm here today. Is to discuss what it looks like for experienced police officers coming over to the OPP, what you might be able to expect, and just kind of why I wanted to come to the OPP and kind of how I'm, loving it, and what some of the reasons are for it. Again, as I said, 21 years I spent as a police officer in another organization and had amazing experiences and incredible times working in um, multiple different teams and different units. However, what was really appealing to me was more on a personal level. It was more family life oriented, and that's what I wanted because what we tend to do on this job is we buy 100% into the job, and we are the job, and sometimes we forget that we have a family and we have other things going on. So to me, I was looking at more of a personal change. I started looking at the OPP and was blown away with not only how I can work closer to my home, but also the number of opportunities that were available to me. Since coming over to the OPP, which was about a little over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I've worked on the road with some amazing people here in Caledon. Um, it's the job is the job. Policing is policing, and I'll tell that to any experienced police officer that wants to come over. Is there's no big changes. We're all police officers in the province of Ontario, so not much changes in that. What was attractive for me was the opportunities to work in different units, to seek promotion, to travel throughout the province and work in multiple different areas. Again, since coming to the OPP, I've been promoted. I'm a sergeant in charge of our community response unit, which is responsible for our community events as well as our offender management apprehension program. Um, as well, I've experienced northern deployments, which was extremely beneficial to me. Was being from the south, I was given the opportunity and through the OPP to travel up north and work on our northern Indigenous reserves for 15 days. I had the opportunity to work up in Pekanjikam, which was an amazing experience for me, which I had never experienced before, as well as seeking out other opportunities. I'm a crisis negotiator for our central region, and the opportunities are just vast. And it's been an amazing experience, a very scary experience, and I'm more than happy to talk about that with experienced police officers and some of the difficulties that you face personally and professionally in making that big decision as to whether or not you're going to leave your organization that you're comfortable with to go into new experiences. In my opinion, it was one of the greatest things I ever did professionally, um, and uh, and I love it, and I'm more than happy to talk about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sergeant. So let's talk a little bit about first when you decided to apply to the OPP. When you applied, how was the application process for you?
Yeah, so the application process was it was daunting for sure because it's very similar to the basic recruit application. Really, to me, it felt like the only difference was they said experienced police officer across the top of it. But you're giving all of your experience. Most of it is geared towards your policing experience as well as getting the references. But the application process is very similar. You have to provide. We all remember when we were applying as police officers that you have to provide all the addresses you've ever lived at, You have to have references that can talk about your professional experience. And it was daunting. It is, but my understanding is that it has been streamlined since. I did it a couple of years ago, but it's lots of information. It's just getting you organized with it. The biggest thing with the application process for me, and it's probably what's going through the heads of a lot of EPOs, is making the final decision as to whether or not you're going to actually do it. And it's scary. It's a big conversation to have with family, with friends, and actually once you make that decision to actually do it, it's like a huge weight's been lifted off of you, and that's the difficulty for me, the biggest difficulty with the application.
Absolutely. So you applied to the OPP, you submitted your application, and how did the process look after the application? So you pressed send, you mailed everything in. What happened after for you?
Yeah, so you submit everything online, which was great, and you immediately get told that it's been received, and then it's a waiting game. For me, and I've heard from other experienced police officers that they came over. The length of time different. It changes for some. For me, it was about 3 months before I heard from the next step. For some, it's within weeks. It just depends on where you fall in the hiring cycle. Because the OPP, my understanding right now is we're looking at running 3 EPO classes a year, possibly 4. So it all depends on when the application goes in. For me, once the application went in, then the interview started. Then further documentation started. We had a fitness log that we had to fill out every week, but my understanding is that's no longer. You don't have to do that anymore, but you had to provide your fitness log on a weekly basis. And then the whole process starts, and you have your interviews, followed by your psych assessments, which are done online as well. And they are essentially, for EPOs, the same psych assessments you probably did when you first joined, except now they were online and you can do them all virtually over Zoom. From there, it then proceeds past to the background stage, which is where you actually get connected with, in my case and other EPOs' cases, is a retired officer, a retired inspector in my case. And you go through everything. They do the background interviews. They call your references. They talk to them for half an hour to 45 minutes and get a good feeling about who you are. The difference that I found, being an EPO, is it's a little bit more personable because you're already a police officer. You're already having a professional conversation. You've gone through the initial application already once. So it's more of a learning who you are and getting a good understanding of who you are, and whether or not you're a good fit for the OPP, which is a very all-encompassing organization that covers multitude of different areas. So it's is this something that is a good fit for you or not? So again, as some said, it took from start to finish 6 months. For me, from the day I pressed send to the day that I got the phone call from the inspector at our provincial police academy offering me a job. And on that, we can talk about location selection. For
Absolutely. I'd love to know. So when you applied, how many detachments did you put down? I know that when you apply as a regular recruit, you have to put down 6 detachments you'd like to police at. So as an experienced officer, I know that there is an opportunity to put 6. Did you put all 6 locations in, or how did that work for you?
Yeah, so I put all 6. We had 6, and I might looking at. I believe it's been reduced. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I had to put 6 down, and basically, like what a lot of experienced police officers do, is I drew a circle around my house within a certain radius of kilometers that I wanted to commute, and you pick those detachments. And luckily for me, being basically on the border of West Region and in Central Region, there's a lot of different choices. One of the different choices that you have to look at too is whether or not the detachment you're looking at is an HSD detachment, which is a Highway Safety Division detachment, or a General Policing Duties detachment like Caledon is. And whether or not, if that's what you want to come up and do. It's funny. The mindset behind a lot of the EPOs is the OPP and traffic, and that is our number one priority. It's absolutely huge for us. But if they're not a traffic officer, there's concern as to whether or not they want to work at a highway safety detachment, and that's a consideration to have. Me personally, I was never a traffic officer leading up to coming to the OPP, and now I absolutely love working traffic because you see the benefits of it and how it can expand and grow into a multitude of different investigations. So it all depends on what you're looking to do with your career and what you're looking to do personally. But yeah, I did pick all six. And of the 51 experienced police officers that were in my class, every single one got their first pick. And that was huge because your first pick is where you want to go, and luckily it worked out for everybody, with the option that if you didn't get your first pick, then you could either defer or take the option that they provided you, and deferral just simply meant you could wait until there's a spot opened up in your first pick. But in our case, we all got our first choice.
That's awesome to hear. And you know what? That's something that we've got to express. Like we try our best as the OPP tries their best to get you a place that you will be happy policing. We're not going to send you way up north if you're not willing to go up north. Time has changed. We want people to be happy where they're working. And especially an experienced police officer, you have a lot of experience policing, and we see that as a huge benefit to our organization. So I think that's a really important thing to touch on. So you applied, you went through the whole process, and then all of a sudden you show up at the Provincial Police Academy. So you don't have to go to OPC because you have your certificate, you are an experienced officer, but you now have to learn about the OPP and the way we do things with the OPP. So you show up for your first day at the Provincial Police Academy. Tell me about how long it was, what your experience was like with all these other recruits, or not recruits, I guess, experienced officers that you went through training with.
It was funny. I remember the first day showing up there, feeling like I was the brand new recruit all over again, not knowing what to expect. That fear was there because it's like, oh, what did I make the right decision? And you know what? From night one, when you show up at the Provincial Police Academy in Aurelia, you have a meeting with your instructors, and you're immediately welcomed. And the big thing, and this was an ongoing thing, is how welcoming everybody was and how happy they were for the experienced police officers to be there. Because, again, it's not we're bringing experience from other organizations into this organization, and with the goal of bettering ourselves and bettering the organization and the communities that we serve. So it was very scary. Once we got there, lots of communication, lots of talking from people from all over the place, all over the province, from different organizations that were coming over. The common trend was that everybody was doing it for, personal reasons and a change. And that seemed to be the big thing. And that it was scary making the decision to come over. But the excitement was there. I don't think I slept the first night I got there because I was so excited about day one and what the Provincial Police Academy had to offer for me. And then you're there for 4 weeks. And throughout those 4 weeks, it's not teaching you to be a police officer. The majority, I can speak for my class, the majority of our class had between 10 and 25 years policing experience already. So it wasn't about, how do we perform vehicle stops or how do we deal with people in crisis? It was learning the OPP policies and procedures and critical policies, which to me was the most important thing because I wanted to learn how I can take my skills that I've acquired and have them translate into the OPP way of doing things, for lack of a better way to say it. But it was a big learning curve, learning new records management systems, learning the new reporting styles, learning a new rank structure was different for me. because coming from different services, your chief is your chief, and within the OPP, it's different how the rank structure works. So learning how to identify people and how each command pillar works. And so over the course of those 4 weeks, yeah, you do you learn the OPP systems, the OPP vehicles, but you generally learn the way that we have to police a province, and it's got to be consistent throughout the province. And that was the biggest thing for us to learn, is that whatever I do in Caledon, which is one of the top 3 busiest detachments in the province, and be able to then go up north to Pikangikum and be able to police in the exact same way with the exact same systems, and have a consistent message and consistent policies. And that's what the 4 weeks really focuses on. And again, the 4 weeks there, everybody is so welcoming. Command comes in, very appreciative of the officers coming over. And, it really made me feel good about the decision that I'd made, and really kind of solidify that I had made the right decision. I was in the right place.
Absolutely. I love your story. I love hearing all about it. You've had so many accomplishments since you've come over to the OPP. You've gotten the chance to become a sergeant with another police service, which is a great opportunity, and we thank you for that. So what are the biggest accomplishments? I see that as a question from Lizzie Core there. What's the biggest accomplishment that you've had since your transition to the OPP?
You know what? The biggest accomplishment for me was getting promoted. Number one, it was that was a big thing for me, and taking on that leadership role within an organization that I was new to. I'd embraced the OPP, and the OPP way of doing things. I believe in the way that we do things and what our messaging is, and getting promoted and being able to take on a leadership role within my new organization, and being able to mentor and work with younger officers, was probably one of the greatest accomplishments I've had. And being able to also join our crisis negotiation program, which wasn't available in other organizations, now being able to work throughout the region and throughout the province as a crisis negotiator, and obtain top-notch training, and work with amazingly experienced negotiators in all different areas of the province. And it just never seems to stop. The opportunities are always there, and I just look forward to continuing and getting the next opportunity and some more accomplishments.
Awesome. So you mentioned earlier that you got a chance to go to do a deployment in the Northern Indigenous communities that we do police, that we do help out. So can you tell me a little bit about that experience and how that went?
Yeah, that to me was probably one of the most amazing experiences of my policing career, hands down. Being able to, I'm a very outdoorsy person, so I love being in the outdoors, and being able to travel into Northern Ontario, which is one of the most beautiful areas in the world as far as I'm concerned, and work within one of the Indigenous communities. It was really educational for me, having come from an area where in Caledon, we don't have a large Indigenous population down here. We understand the issues. We understand that there is a stigma between police and the Indigenous communities, and there is a bridge to gap. We know that, and by going up and being able to work with the communities and work with the amazing people that are up there, that are just trying to make their community better, and we're working hand in hand with them in very difficult conditions. The conditions are not the best conditions that they're living in, the living conditions, but everybody there is willing to work with each other, trying to make things better. We're there. They understand that we're there to help. And it really opened my eyes to policing in a different way. And I mean, as such, it's just expanded my interest in it. I've put back in for the program. I'm heading back up to another remote community in March. I'm going to go up to Kenora and experience up there. and take as many of the courses that we have to offer with the OPP on working with Indigenous cultures and communities.
Awesome. So, and just to let everyone know that we do have multiple classes throughout the year. We are hiring experienced officers, obviously, and I know you'd mentioned your class when you went through. What month was it that you went through for your training?
So we went through in October.
Okay.
So that was one of the classes, and the job offers for us came out very quickly. I actually I had exactly to the day 2 weeks notice to give to my other organization before I came over. So it happened very quickly. I've heard some get notified up to a month and a little bit more in advance to help you make some decisions. But yeah, we went through in October. And I'm not sure the frequency of the courses, but I know they want to do 3 or 4.
Yeah, absolutely. So our next one, I believe, is in August. So it would be the end of summer. So yeah, now's the time to apply if you're thinking about it. I think the sergeant had a great had a great experience applying as an experienced police officer. So let's get some questions here. So I see, how many years of experience do I need to be eligible as an experienced police officer? So to be a police officer, you do have to be a first class constable when you come over. So you need to be past your probationary period. We do look for that. That's number one. You do need to be past your probationary period, and you have to have policed with a police service in the last 2 years. If you are looking at coming over from another police service that's outside of our province, such as the RCMP or any outside of province police services, you can challenge the Ontario Police College competency exam. So there is opportunities, but you do have to do that. So let's answer some more questions. I think I saw one. Or do you see any questions there, Nathan, that kind of you want to touch on?
I'm just looking at one here. I live in Montreal. Can I still apply with the OPP? As far as out of province applications, absolutely. We have some detachments right on the border of Quebec. I believe Hawkesbury is our furthest one to the east, but
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't believe there's any provincial.
In reference to the detachment.
There's one here. What are the differences between municipal and provincial? Yeah. You want me to jump on that one, or?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the question here: what are some of the biggest differences you found between municipal and provincial? The biggest difference that I found is geography. Number one, geography is we police everywhere, and you have the opportunity to police anywhere in the province of Ontario. So you're attached to your detachment, but there are opportunities to work all over, work with multiple different units, whether it's CBSA, RCMP, you work potentially with the SQ and the QPP out in Quebec. When we're up on the border, you could potentially work with Manitoba, and you're all over the place, and you can be sent all over, and that's the nice thing. I found that was a big change for me, is that a lot of drive time potentially. If you're sent to a call or you're in a specialized unit, you can police the entire province of Ontario, and that was the big change for me, and I loved it.
Absolutely. That's one thing that I really enjoy about the OPP too, is that you do get a chance to police all over the province. I have been up to some of the northern Indigenous communities as well, and I've had a great experience up there. I've had an opportunity to work in other areas when they've needed officers for overtime, big events. So the chance to see the province and work throughout the province of Ontario, that's my number one thing. That's what I've enjoyed. I know if you've tuned in before, you've heard my story. I started down in Burlington in the Highway Safety Division and then went up to Elliott Lake. The difference in policing Highway Safety Division versus going to a northeastern community was huge. Totally different job. So the opportunity to work a different career, a different job within your job is amazing. If you're bored doing one thing or working at one detachment, if you think, and you're able to move, there's plenty of opportunities to do that. So so there's somebody asking about a ride along at local detachment. So if you are looking to do a ride along, again, reach out to your local detachment, ask to speak to an officer there or the officer in charge, see if they have an officer that's willing to take you out. Some detachments are able to do this. Some will give you that opportunity, but it's worth a try. Just reach out and see if they can set something up for you. So another thing is incentives to join the OPP as an experienced police officer. So I know people are always talking money, things like that. We're not going to go there, but I know pension is a hot topic.
Yeah.
When you're transferring over from one police service to the other. You don't want to have to work extra years, things like that. So our suggestion is do your homework. Like anything, make sure you ask the questions. Reach out to your current pension board. Reach out to the OPPs. That's huge for us. We want to make sure that you make an informed decision, and we want people to be happy in the end. So make sure you do your homework for sure.
And some of them, some of the and I know that's a big question for people, but the pension process, they provide you with people to talk to when you're doing that and transitioning over. You can speak with somebody, and they're their financial planners, and they kind of help you because everybody's different. Everybody's situation is different. So there's no one set way of saying anything until you actually talk to somebody and work through it that way. Some of the other benefits is your year's service carry with you. So when I came over with 21 years, I came over with 21 years. You're still a 21-year officer. You don't necessarily pick your vacation at the top of the list because you do lose that. However, you still carry over your vacation entitlement. So that's a benefit. So you don't start from scratch. And the way that the OPP is right now, we have a lot of very young officers, and EPOs coming in with experience are embraced. You're given a lot of responsibility right off the bat because you are experienced, and oftentimes you may come into your platoon as being the most experienced person on your platoon, even though it's day one. You're given in my case, my mentor, because they're not called coach officers for us, my mentor had, I think at the time, 1.5 years on the job. And she's absolutely fantastic. I think she was more nervous than I was. We had a great time. And we embraced that, she wasn't there to teach me to be a police officer, but she was there to teach me how to do it the OPP way. And that's what I wanted. And you're embraced right off the bat. So that there are a lot of incentives coming over, and again, you're given a lot of responsibility right off the bat.
Awesome. So I know that fitness was not something that you did have to send in fitness logs when you went through. I know that you didn't have to send in a shuttle run video when you went through, correct?
Right. Yeah, we didn't have to do that. Yeah.
So when you were at the Provincial Police Academy, did you do a little bit of fitness?
We didn't. It wasn't structured into the program. However, because we had to provide our fitness logs and maintain a certain standard fitness, because you have to have your provincial fitness pin in order to apply, we all took it on ourselves because we were there. We were living together at the Provincial Police Academy. That we all did our 10K runs in the evening and 5K runs, or even just your 2K run, whatever you wanted to do, whatever you felt like that day, just to keep the fitness level up. Because again, in order to come over, you have to show that you are still physically fit and can pass the fitness components of it. And, all of us were motivated to stay fit. So.
Absolutely. So talking about fitness, I see there's a question about shuttle run events. So when you apply to be a regular recruit constable, so when you're applying, after you submit your application, if If everything looks good, they'll send you an email asking you to send a video of you completing the shuttle run and achieving level 7. They will send you all the instructions on how to do it. We expect you to send that in to us. And if for whatever reason you choose that that's not for you, you don't want to send the video in, we do have events that are going on throughout the province. There was a question asking when the next shuttle run event. So you can find our upcoming events at opp.ca/careers. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, all of our recruitment upcoming events are listed there. So it looks, I'm just pulling it up right now. Our next one, it says Aurelia Shuttle Run, January 29th from 4:30 to 7. So if you want more information on events like this, you do have to sign up for them. So what we want you to do is go on our website, click on the link, sign up, and come out to these events if that's something that you'd like to do. I know a lot of the time when people are looking at applying, one thing that is a challenge is getting that shuttle run, especially in the winter. So getting to go to an event that might be indoors where you don't have to video yourself, that can be good for you, and also having the motivation of others there too. So if you do go to an event, you will receive a certificate after saying that you've successfully achieved level 7 if you do make it to that point, and you can submit that with your application. So one less step to do.
And if I can just piggyback on that too, if you look at your the detachment social media for wherever's near you. I know in Caledon we're having a women in policing shuttle run event coming up that we're going to be doing hand in hand with recruitment. And depending on your college, I know we partner with Sheridan College doing ride-alongs and things like that for those in the law and security program. So reach out to your local detachments because they may be running events as well. You know, I don't have the date for ours that's coming up, but I believe it's in February. And it's being run in coordination with Sheridan College and the employment unit.
Awesome. So we have some questions about working in the North. So I know I kind of touched base about going from Highway Safety Division, moving up to the Northeast region, working in the East Algoma Detachment Cluster. That's where I've been for the past, oh my gosh, like 13 years now, I guess, now that we're in 2025. So I love it. I love working in the North. I find that it's a slower pace of life, affordability of houses, opportunities coming to detachments that are smaller are endless. I know, Sergeant Taylor, that you being in Caledon, that's a fairly large detachment. The detachment I'm currently working out of, it's obviously much smaller, so there's plenty of opportunities to get specific courses that you're interested in. So courses such as the SOCO courses, or if you are interested in being a breath tech or drug recognition officer, or anything like that, there are plenty of opportunities up here. I know that you went to one of the Indigenous communities. How was it working up there? I know that you mentioned you had a great experience, but how is it different from policing in say the GTA? Because we'll consider Caledon the GTA.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's well, it's very busy up north. There's lots to work with. There's lots more community because you don't have the same resources that we would have down here readily available to you. For us, if we needed like an ERT team or a TRUE team or something like that to respond to some kind of critical event, it would take time, and potentially you could be waiting hours upon hours, if not days, until they can catch a flight in, because specifically this reserve was plane access, except by an ice road in the winter, and so access to resources is limited. So you're working with what you've got, and for us, there's 4 of us working during the day and 4 working during the night. So there's not a lot of resources. So you really had to learn how to police in a different way with less resources, to be more efficient, look at different ways of doing things. And that's where, for me, the experience was eye-opening, because you're not policing a big city. You're not looking for the next highway. A lot of the things are within walking distance that you can get to. You're surrounded by forests. So if you're not if you're not comfortable in the outdoors, it's very different. It's very quiet at night. There's lots of stars. It's beautiful, but it's a very different style of policing. And it's one that, because there is a bit of contention, it takes a different type of police officer. You really have to be able to talk and really understand the issues that are faced up there, which are very different than the issues that we face down here in the south. So it was, it was eye opening. It was amazing. I mean, there's courses that I'd love to get that I can't get down here, like the snowmobile course, the ATV course, and the boat course. We don't have many lakes down here in Caledon, but these are all things that I'd love to be able to take, and that's working in the north. That's one of the benefits of up there.
Absolutely. So there's another question about transferable skills, life skills, and applying to the OPP. So obviously, we want to know about your transferable skills. So whether you've been a security guard and you've got security guard license, or maybe you've worked as a security guard at a college or a university, or life skills could be you're a parent, you've been a banker before, you've managed a company before. So there's plenty of things that we are looking for. We are not looking for a cookie cutter person. We're not looking for a specific person. Everyone brings something to the table. We are all a team as police officers, and we all work together. So there's people that have specific skills that bring something to the table. Some people are really good with kids and are a parent, so they're really good at interviewing children, or somebody could be very fit and good with going after somebody in the bush. So there's plenty of strengths and weaknesses that we all have, and transferable skills are something we are going to ask you about, and something that's very valuable to us. So you don't have to take police foundations. You don't have to take law and security or criminology in university. We don't need you to take that to apply to the OPP. We're looking at what education you do have, and that you did well in school. So coming on from another police service, that is a huge transferable skill. Obviously, you were a police officer. How many years were you with the other police service when you transferred over?
I was there for 21 years, so I had lots of different experience, multiple different units, multiple different areas. And I like to say to a lot of people that reach out to me in relation to this is again, as you said, it's not about, not necessarily not, and I'm certainly not taking anything away from the law and security program, which is an excellent program. And it does give you lots of transferable skills over. But one of the best things that I can say to people is the more experience outside of policing that you have is so beneficial, because you bring that human factor to policing, and you have an understanding of different things. So the more volunteer work you can do, the more groups that you can work with, whether it's Special Olympics or Meals on Wheels or different food banks, to understand the populations that we work with, gives you that leg up. It gives you that understanding of the communities that you're working with. So, I mean, as the more you can get outside of policing, the better of a more well-rounded candidate you are. And I know one of the questions was, how can you get a hold of a recruiter? Obviously through hiring, and I'm sure there's lots of information through the website. But each detachment, I know in Caledon, we have recruit ambassadors, and you can reach out to the detachment. I'm one of the recruit ambassadors in Caledon, and we can help you. We can give you information. We can give you the resources to work with our employment unit, and hopefully give you the information that you need.
Absolutely. And if you, again, look at our website, opp.ca/careers, we are going to be popping up at events throughout all over the province. So if there's a big event in your community, any kind of job fair, things like that, sometimes we will be there. So if you see us, come up and talk to us. A lot of us are either community services officers, recruitment ambassadors, recruiters, and we want to talk to you about a career in policing. That's why we're there. So come out, talk to us. I'm just looking. We also have information sessions that are going to be going on throughout the province over the next little bit. And again, it's listed on the bottom of our careers portion of our website under the upcoming events. So some you do have to register for, others you don't, but we do post these online on our website, on our social media accounts. So keep looking online. So people are asking where the next shuttle runs are. So again, just keep looking on our website. We try to post them as soon as we have them scheduled, and make sure that you register if you're planning on going to them. Does having only high school and pre-university hinder your chances of getting into the OPP? No, it does not. Our minimum is a high school diploma. So anything above that is great. We just want to know that you are willing to learn, that you are going to be able to learn. Ontario Police College is a Ontario college, and you have to achieve 75% when you go there. So we really want to see that you want to continue your education, you want to learn, and that you will be successful at the Ontario Police College. So there's plenty of courses available online. We do have challenges on the OPP website that you can complete. So have a look at those. Anything helps. Again, minimum is high school diploma.
And this question here, no, you don't need your PAL to apply to be a police officer. So there's a quick answer for that one. But yeah, I mean, as you said, yeah, high school is all you need, and that's where the volunteer experience and any other experiences that you have give you that extra leg up when you're applying.
So somebody's asking if we need specific format of reference for volunteer experience. No, we don't. We don't need a format, anything like that. We just want to know where you've been volunteering. We want to know how many hours you've been volunteering. Are you doing it once a week? Are you doing it multiple days a week? How many hours total you have done volunteering? So we'll get to one last question. Do you see one there, Sarge, that kind of...
No, there's lots of great questions. All I can say is any questions you've got. I mean, especially if you're down in the south, just reach out to us. We're always looking for good quality candidates, especially why I'm here with EPOs. EPOs, you have any questions, reach out, and we can get you the answers that you need.
Absolutely. And
decision. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you you do have any questions at all, opp.ca/careers has tons of answers. So make sure that you log in there, and also follow us on social media. We are doing Ask Me Anythings every other Wednesday. Our next one is going to be February 12th. And we're going to be discussing what to expect in training, so OPC and the Provincial Police Academy. So tune in 2 weeks on the 12th, and we'll answer all the questions that you have regarding the hiring process, and we'll hopefully answer questions regarding training and the Ontario Police College and the Provincial Police Academy. Again, I want to thank you everyone for tuning in today. We really appreciate it, and we wish you all the best of luck in the hiring process if you decide to choose the OPP. Thank you, Sergeant Nathan Daler, for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing everyone in